You good?
Hello, Lorehead.
Oh, you want to do it? Go ahead, hon.
No, I don't.
No, go ahead.
No, I'm scared.
What? What are you afraid of?
I'll do it wrong.
You'll do it
What
wrong.
if he becomes Rebecca for the episode?
Yeah. You poor thing. You couldn't handle me. Think you can handle me, summoner? Hello, loreheads.
Sorry.
Hello, loreheads, and welcome to the League, exploring the League of Legends lore from A to Z. My name is Rebecca.
And I'm John.
My name is Mark.
Today we're talking about the boss Sett, who was released January 14th, 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he,
I've hated him ever since. In-game, I don't really... I never had much of a feeling about his personality, but man, I hate playing against Sett.
yeah, it was like 3 years ago. It's so much time to release lore.
Put some lore out. Yeah.
Get some lore out of here.
He got a Legends of Runeterra release, I guess. That's not really.
I haven't played it since Sett was in there, I don't think.
Yeah, but it's not lore. It's not like an actual story. It's like hints at maybe a story potentially.
He feels like another champion that they didn't want to make up lore for him. They wanted to put Sett in the game. They had a design. They wanted a punchy fist man.
We want a punchy fist man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's a shame because I think he sits at a nice weird intersection of like Ionia and Noxian culture.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So he's got a lot of potential for like there's some cool stories you could tell with Sett. He's just didn't have a lot. That's okay.
And it's kind of like the exact opposite of like the Riven story, where she started Noxus and then embraced Ionian ideals, and he's just started Ionian and is embracing the Noxus ideals.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of neat. That's why I'm saying that you for that Alistar epic that gets written. Sett's a really fun character to
yeah.
It's
A
all
few
in
more
here.
days.
If
it's
we
written.
get-
They're just fine tuning it now.
If we get some kind of Alistar comic or something, we're gonna lose it.
I'm gonna lose my fucking mind.
That's what Mark's gonna do. What's that?
timely fucking.
Yeah.
He's gonna be the Alistar of his own story.
All right.
I said the Alistar of his own.
I
does
didn't hear
Sett
that. That's
sound
a pretty good one. I was surprised at Sett's voice. He's kind of like hey, wait a minute. Are we getting paid for this?
That was my fucking quote, Mark. That was the one I wrote down.
That's right. I wrote down
Sorry.
two.
Okay. Do you have a one? I'm gonna do the second one.
Sure.
Nothing I hate more than people with sleeves. I don't know what I've never heard him say that line. I only heard him say the wait hold up line. I had it practiced. I was gonna do my bro voice. It's okay.
Hey, anyone know whose teeth are stuck in my knuckles?
Oh my god. That was... So I'm just imagining you be like, now do an impression of a man.
I did an impression of a man. Did I sound believable?
You did. It was good.
Thanks.
It's honestly like a good impression. This is just like, I'm just imagining you in your head being like, all right, now what does a man sound like?
Damn. Getting roasted out the gate. Shit.
Oh man.
Well, on the universe page, Sett has a bio and a short story. Really bare bones. He's got a very short color story that doesn't provide us with much lore. And we have a bio that also doesn't provide us with much lore.
Yeah. I feel like the bio was like, it felt kind of dense. Like
It
I was
did, and then when I was taking notes for it, it was like, there wasn't much.
Yeah, right?
Okay, there's not actually a lot here, honestly. I could sum it up much shorter, even, but,
Yeah, for sure.
I'm going to ramble on anyway.
Fuck yeah.
You got to pad this episode somehow. So, Sett.
We've had some long ones. I think we can just let this one.
Honestly, this is kind of a breath of fresh air. We haven't had like a chill lore champ in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, John didn't have to read the Star Guardian lore again.
I didn't. I was
But he
so
did
excited.
anyway.
I did
Yeah,
anyway.
he did it anyway.
Just to see if he popped up. You can never be too careful.
There's a bunch of fists in there, and you never know.
One of them could have been Sett's fist. All right. Anyway, Sett was a normal half Vestayan boy in Ionia. His mom was a Vestayan who was disowned after lying with a human man. They were all disgusted with her. His father was a Noxian who ran the fighting pits, so people just kind of kept their mouth shut about like the disapproval on that side. They also didn't think it was cool that he bred with a Vestayan, I guess.
Did he run them, or was he just a fighter?
Oh, I thought he ran them. Oh, I guess he was just a fighter.
Just a
God, I
fighter.
suck.
But
I
like
think
a
he
really
was just
good
a fighter.
one.
'Cause
But a really good one.
yeah,
right?
he was
Okay.
a very good
He was
one.
very well respected.
He was the big draw,
The
probably.
big draw.
Yeah, 'cause
Big
I think he said he
cheese.
bought out his contract later, and that's
Oh,
why he left.
yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Might be. Anyway, one day his father disappeared, so Sett started getting bullied because all the people were like, "Oh, your dad's not here to protect you anymore," whatever Noxians sound like. So he learned to fight with his fists instead of his words, and would beat up people who said some shit. He did.
I like this image of really nerdy, skinny,
Nerdy, sorry.
Right.
twink Sett.
Carrying his books home from
It's
school.
like Captain America, like that.
Yeah.
His mom was not happy when she heard that he was fighting. She didn't want him to end up in the fighting pits like his father. So when Sett went to the pits to feel closer to him, he hid that from her. God, our cat just like ran across the ceiling. It sounded like. Anyway, there Sett learned that his dad had abandoned him and his mom for bigger, better, badder fighting pits. Sett signed up for a fight, hoping to beat up his dad. But of course, it was someone else he had to fight. He did really good, though, and soon became the champion, not with any training, just pure rage.
Yeah,
That's-
that Vestayan. I guess he is Vestayan, and I'm pretty sure I looked
Yeah.
up what type of Vestaya. I'm pretty sure it was like a badger or something like that. It's like
That's great.
Great.
you
I
know,
love
good
that.
at fighting.
Yeah,
So
that's
he's a little honey
fantastic.
badger. What's
He's
going
a
on
little
there? Is
badger.
that the- yeah.
Aw.
Honey badger don't give a fuck.
What does his mom look like, I wonder?
It's just like an actual badger just
Right.
running
Badger.
around.
She's just a
Mom,
badger.
I'm back.
She's like, or whatever sound badgers make. I don't know.
One of his quotes, he does say she has claws. Actually, he said
I'm
when
trying to-
like she would wipe his tears away with her claws.
Yeah, I mean, imagining like Zaya Rakan, which, you know, they're humanoid but have lots of bird features. I'm trying to imagine a badger version of that. Is she tiny? I don't know how it works.
Maybe she's more like Wukong, where it's like mostly
Yeah.
badger, but with kind of human-like face.
Kind of like a mermaid situation, but with a badger.
Yeah.
What a sentence.
Sexy.
Anyway, Sett was taking home lots of money, lied to his mom about where he was getting it from. She's real gullible. He wanted more, though, so he demanded ownership of the fighting pit. The Noxians running it said no, so he beat them up until they said yes. And that's kind of where he's at now. It seems that he's still kind of hoping his father's going to show up one day so he can kick his ass, and that's kind of it.
Which is... There's a lot of wild things about this bio.
My one gripe is that I don't believe that Noxians would give a shit that his dad fucked a badger.
I don't think it was the Noxians bullying him. I think it was the Ionians.
Oh, it was Ionia
That was the
that
was the feeling I got.
Okay, that makes more sense, but I feel like Noxus would be like, yeah, make powerful babies with powerful creatures. You know, I don't think they'd give a shit.
Yeah, because the Vestayans hate humans and the Ionians hate Noxians, so pretty much everyone in Ionia had a reason to hate him.
I can see that.
Sure. Yeah. That makes more sense. Yeah.
Also makes more sense why I was able to beat him up so easily.
Well
Ionian
done.
nerds.
Well, honey,
Come at me.
Great.
Yeah.
Gonna bully these people.
the Ionians would kick your ass.
They would.
Yeah.
Everyone I've met.
They're very well trained. Every one of them.
I'm really curious what type of lies he tells his mom about the work he does when he's just like dropping piles of gold on it. Like, yeah, it's
He
from
builds
a
houses.
paper route.
Yeah.
Well, we see it in the color story.
Yeah.
Right?
He said that he built an orphanage.
Orphanages for orphans.
Orphans notoriously pay very well.
Those damn rich orphans.
Listen, denial. It's a powerful drug, okay?
And like, has the word never reached his mom about a half Vestayan pit boss?
I'll say that's another thing that I don't buy. Like, his mom, she's got to know.
There's not a lot of half Vestayans. They make it a point that everyone's real pissed off at him because it doesn't happen a whole lot. Him being in charge of the pits must have gotten around.
Probably. I mean, it's weird because when I was reading Sett, I had in my mind like Tony Soprano, but with like chiseled abs, right? And it's like, so I guess I imagine his mom as being very like almost elderly at this point. Like maybe she's a little like a shut-in. I don't know. This is me, obviously. Like, there's nothing in here to support that. But I guess that's just how I pictured it, was that she's kind of sheltered away from the world.
I could see that. She just kind of hangs around the people around the little neighborhood, and she gardens. And
it's weird, though, because, like, he's very young.
Yeah, he doesn't seem that old.
And he ages differently than normal Vestaya since he's half Vestayan. But Vestaya,
that's true.
They live a really long time. So, like, the entire span of his life is probably like a fucking blink of an eye to his mom.
Yeah, I was expecting in the short story or in the bio that eventually they'd mention that, like, his mom knows what he's doing. And she's just kind of like, they're both pretending like she doesn't or something like that. That would make a little bit more sense to me.
Yeah.
Or that she's just straight up in denial. Like,
she has very expensive taste in like fancy teas, and the only way she could get her fancy tea is with the bags of gold that Sett. So they're all just pretending, so she can get her golden chamomile.
Yeah, those are more interesting ideas. I think both of those. I like the almost like the quiet lie of it all, where like she asks but she knows and he tells her something, but he would never lie to his, well, I guess he would lie to his mom. He does lie to his mom
all the time.
Yeah, he does it all the time.
It's all he does.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I almost thought the idea of maybe his dad having been the Vestayan and his mom being the human might make that flow a little more reasonable. Like, she's kind of getting on in years and he's still pretty young, something like that.
I like
that's
that.
why his dad could still be around, you know?
Yeah, and I could see his dad leaving for that reason. As a Vestayan, he's still kind of young and just not committing in an adult way. But yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I don't know.
Man, it's crazy how that tiny flip just fixes.
Well, I mean, it could still work, but
sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Man, a badger in the fighting pits? Just a straight badger?
Just a little one?
Just a regular old badger.
Still wouldn't want to fight it.
No, honestly.
Kick my ass worse than the Ionians would.
Well, it's been trained, you know? I mean, it's got the...
Yeah,
throw a punch.
I knew a little bit about Sett. I knew that he did something with fighting pits. I was expecting this to feel a lot like Draven, and it didn't feel as much like Draven as I thought it was going to, which was nice. I feel like what Sett's doing is very different than Draven's fighting pit.
Yeah,
and it feels different. And Sett and Draven feel different. That's a meeting I'd love to see. I'm very curious if they would get along. I feel like it'd be a begrudging liking of each other eventually, but I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Well, Sett makes me think a lot more of Darius, you know, and I could see it
personality
being like,
wise, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, you remind me of my brother in a way that's like, oh, that's gonna that could be kind of fun.
Yeah, that's true.
I kind of like it. I mean, I liked in the color story getting Sett's voice because he's a lot more, it's like you said, he's a lot less ostentatious for someone who calls himself like the boss and shit, you know? Like in his splash art has groupies massaging his fists. You would think he would be really like...
I thought he was going to be more Draven, like more arrogant.
Yeah,
but he's a little bit more level-headed, yeah.
Yeah, level-headed, and he's really like brusque and just kind of like... what's the word, like very practical almost, and sort of like just whatever needs to get done gets done, you know.
He knows how important it is to maintain his image in order to keep control of what he's built. So a lot of his more over the top things seem more crafted than
than showy. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Is it like whenever anybody leaves, those girls massaging his hand? It's like, okay, get out of here.
I'm pretty sure the people in his splash art are actually his lieutenants or something like that from what I read
really?
on the Twitters.
The Twitters. Interesting.
Well, that's...
I feel like they're a little above that massaging his hands.
I guess you got to make sure your boss still punches good, otherwise you don't have a job anymore.
Yeah, I suppose. But I want to see his casino, because I think the idea of an Ionian Noxian mix-up casino sounds like a really cool place. That sounds like a really cool place to visit in an MMO. And
right?
do like PvP arena shit.
Oh, that'd
love
be
that
sick.
Oh man.
Yeah. This is an interesting area where Noxus and Ionia does mix. They really mention, that Ionia is starting to fight in the fighting pits now. They've found their rage, I guess, after the war.
Yeah.
And what a strange place for them to kind of meet up and almost ally sometimes, I imagine. It's not only Noxus and Ionians fighting in the fighting pit. People come from everywhere to fight there.
Yeah.
Sure. It's an interesting reflection of how, like, the interactions between Noxus or with Noxus have kind of, like, the toll it's taken on Ionian culture, even insofar as, like, now they engage in, like, they go to the pits when they normally wouldn't have. It's an interesting way of showing how just like the cross-pollination like has further degraded Ionian culture in that way. Just kind of neat.
Yeah. So my main gripe too with this, they say that he went to the pits and then he was told that his dad bought his contract out and left the pits to go to Noxus and fight in much better pits. And then he was like, all right, well, put me in just in case I'm up against my dad.
Yeah, I was very confused by that.
Like, excuse me?
Maybe he was
Do I
young
have to
and dumb.
repeat what I just... You're not going to get put up against your dad.
Yeah.
He's moved on.
Yeah.
Yeah. I almost read
He's
that
the
as
one
like,
person you're not going to get put up against.
I would love that. It's like, sign me up. My dad might be the next one. It's like, he won't be.
And everyone's like, no.
All right, I'm going to get just in case my old man. He's not going to be set.
Look at the roster. He's the one name crossed out.
Yeah, I guess I don't know how young he was supposed to be, so I almost thought it was like he wasn't literally thinking. He just like started building that image in his head of like, you start like anticipating something and picturing like what would it be like if he showed up and what would I say to him and how would I punch him right in the face?
Right.
And then it's just some guy that he ended up, I don't know, some
In a
badger
way,
or something that he fought.
Everyone he fought in the pit was his dad.
They're all his dad. Oh my
Sure,
gosh.
yeah. Oh my god.
Sett
The
is
sword-
lying on a
she's
couch
the sword.
in the room next. Now, can it be paired?
I don't know, perhaps. Well, maybe not. But it probably shouldn't be. Or should it? Yeah. Yeah, I was surprised in the color story that I guess I didn't know how lethal the pit is, right? I kind of thought that
Oh, yeah,
when he
yeah. I thought it was like Fight Club.
I kind of thought something like that. Like, he takes over the pit and he like beats them up real bad and they give him the pit. Like, he doesn't kill them. So I was like, if this is like going to be like a PG level violence, like they got a big like Band-Aid on their forehead, like someone's got a big swollen jaw, like, oh, okay, you're the boss now. But as we see in the color story, it's not at all like that. It's not Looney Tunes at all. So
Yeah, it makes more sense that his mom was so, upset about the idea that he could end up there.
Yeah, especially fighting with his fists.
Yeah. People are allowed weapons. He just doesn't bring one.
Well, he's just that fucking pissed off.
I guess he has brass knuckles. They count.
Oh, that's fair. Actually,
Yeah,
that's
it's
a weapon.
fair. That's fair. Anything else on the bio? You'll want to hop into the short story?
I'm ready for that short story, baby.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Was the bio? Who was the credit on that? I didn't look. I didn't write
I also
down.
didn't, but I would
I didn't
assume
have
it would be
one.
John O'Brien because this release strikes me as
They were.
one of their classic one person does both and nobody ever looks at it again.
Yeah. I feel that.
Oh, sure. I would love if there was a little sentence like in the middle of the bio. Is anybody even reading this?
That would have been in like Cho'Gaths or
Right.
something.
That's half.
Tweet
That's half
at
his
blah, blah, blah.
lore.
His lore. Is anybody there?
Is anybody? Oh man. But yeah, so it's called Big Head Bad News, and it's just a day in the life of Sett. I guess he's watching a fight at his pit. It's a big fight, and the current champion. I just wrote down the Flair. The actual name's somewhere in here. Prawn, but not like a
okay.
shrimp, like Prahn. Pran. Pran the Flair is fighting some Shuriman challenger. and it's over in a second. And Pran wins most handily. And Pran has kind of like a Neela-esque sort of whip. He's got like a whip sword. Is what he does, and he's really good at it. And it's a very rare weapon. And Pran's, he's showboating and he's loving the adulation. And Sett kind of recognizes that, like, that guy's getting a big head. He's exactly like how I was. And lo and behold, that night, Pran comes up and is like, "Hey, there's a big fight. Give me some of the money." And Sett's like, "Well, no, I'm not going to give you anything." And then they end up kind of getting into words, and it's like, "Okay, well, let's fight it out." And Pran's like, "Fine, if I win, I get all your shit." And Sett doesn't ask for anything. He just wants to get paid to do it. So they have a big fight in front of the crowd. And Sett and Pran fight. Seems like Pran's getting a little bit of the upper hand, and then Sett grabs a hold of his sword and punches his face in. And he wins the fight, and he's still the boss. Good job,
punches
Sett.
him to death, really.
Punches him to death, I should say, yeah. There's a couple of murders that happen in here.
There's just a little bit of murder. Yeah, a little murder.
Yeah. And then he goes home to his mama, and he wakes her up when he comes in. He drops a big fat stack of coins down. She's like, "Oh, Sett." Oh, we get his actual full name, which is Settrig.
Oh, yeah.
Where'd you get that money? And it's like, "Oh, I gotta build an orphanages, Ma, for orphans. Go back to bed, Ma." It's okay.
A good boy. Oh, my good boys. Well, no, don't do your Irish accent, Mark. Come
No,
back.
I can't. Well, yeah, that's it. He lies about where he's getting his stuff, his money.
Now, I mentioned that it was a little ridiculous that she thought you'd get paid that much to build an orphanage for orphans anywhere, but especially in Ionia, right? Where it's been shown time and time again that half these buildings build themselves. The nature's just like, "I want a building here," or like, that judge from Riven's story who was just like, "I'm gonna build a bench," and holds their hand out and there's a bench. Like, there's people just building things in Ionia by holding their hands out.
Maybe people don't trust the magic buildings, so then you get paid extra to actually build them with your hands.
You
Especially
get
in
paid
the
extra to
Noxian place,
destroy
yeah.
nature and put the iron bolts in it. Which
That sounds very
makes
Noxian.
people very
Sounds
happy.
super Noxian, yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe she's like, because she was a Vestian growing up, maybe she's like completely sheltered from the entire world and like never even knew about how like buildings got built. And she doesn't even
could have
quite know what
been
that
it
means.
How much could have been? I would like to, I'd like to know more about his mom, because she's such an important part of his life, and I love that he loves his mom. Like, what an interesting trait to give like this badass dude that he just goes home and brings his ma some money. You gotta take care of ma, it's from his point of view, the story. There's some boys like, she loves seeing her boys standing there. It's great. But we don't know anything about her, which makes it a little bit harder to connect to this relationship. Like, how does she feel about being thrown out of her family for being with this Noxian who abandoned her anyway? I mean, she got her son out of it, which I'm sure to her that's worth it, but give us more, give us a little there.
Yeah. I want a day in the life of Settrig's mom.
Life of Badger Lady.
She could get a name, we'll say. The fact that you had to be like Sett's mom. Like, you're coming over like Sett's mom. Can I have some icy and fucking toast, like pizza rolls or something?
Mrs. Sett's mom. Can Sett come out and punch things with it?
Yeah. I feel like we know more about his dad, frankly.
Yeah, and it's really sad because like the guy just left. Fuck that guy. He's out getting cigarettes.
Yeah.
I get that Sett's driven by that loss, but I also like to see how we see a little bit of how his mom has affected him a little bit. He does give the guy he fights, what's his name? Prawn, but not the shrimp. Yeah, he's like the Vestian in me, like gives him a chance to back down of being like, "You sure about this? We don't got to do this, man. You could just go."
Yeah, I agree. That's kind of a missed opportunity. There's a line in here. I'm trying to find it. I didn't write down, but yeah, you read into this how you want. But there is a line where Sett's talking about how he grabs a hold of Prawn's big, weird, floppy blade and has some trouble with it. I guess he didn't say big, but he did say I grab his weird floppy blade.
What do you mean read into that hell? What are you implying here? What are you trying to say?
There are times where some of us, John in particular, will read a certain sentence and kind of cast certain
What?
connotations on it.
Me?
This John?
Did you write that
Our
down, John? Let me see.
No.
No.
I had a different whip sword. I just wrote down the fact that they mentioned, his infamous whip sword, and like fucking left it at that. And like, you can't just walk past that. I need information about this whip sword.
Would you like it if they gave it a weird name that was like, hey, what do we say we're going to call swords from now on? Glores or whatever?
Words.
Words, yeah.
The piss word.
Yeah. Would you prefer that? Would that make you happier if you got that?
A little bit.
Or do you just want to know more about it?
In my head, I'm imagining, I don't know if you've played Soul Calibur. I'm imagining Ivy's weapon.
Ivy. Yeah.
That's what I assume it is.
I think, that sounds about right.
Especially after Kiana. It's clear they're getting weapon inspiration from Soul Calibur.
Sure. I thought you were going to say they're getting weapon desperate because they're just like trying to, what haven't we used? What else is out there? Whip sword. Throw it in. What else can we find? They do say that he is one of like 8 people, do they say? 9? The number changes?
Yeah, said. Yeah, he was one of 8 people.
Yeah. Who can do like a Ren Fair like show and throw the whip all around him without cutting his own face off?
That's what the rest of them are doing. They just work at Ren Fairs.
Rune Fairs?
Oh, damn.
Shit.
Welcome to the Rune Fair, lords and ladies.
Huzzah!
Huzzah!
Huzzah to the summoner.
I can't wait to go to the Ren Fair this year,
right?
Dude. Yeah.
Desperate for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I like this story. I guess I liked it sets perspective, like we said, and he's not like got the most wild personality, but I feel like you get a good sense of kind of some of who he is from how he thinks about things. Like when that Shuriman guy is challenging Prawn, he doesn't even really know his name. He's like, no, I'll figure it out later if he wins. Like the way he kind of values things, and the way he kind of is running the organization is kind of neat to see. Where he's like dispatching people, like go get some extra people to guard the till. That he has the forethought of like, hey, if we're gonna fight, let's make a show of it so I can make some money off of it. It's I like that.
He's he's a shrewd businessman.
Yeah. He's not a complete dullard.
With ears.
Fuzzy
little
ears.
cat ears.
Yeah, I mean everyone has ears.
Or badger ears. I don't know.
Hopefully they're badger ears.
Oh man, could you imagine some other
scandal.
Bastion?
Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, we do actually get to see a picture of his mom, but it's in an AU. She's kind of human.
Oh,
really?
Okay, well, maybe in the AU she's human.
Yeah, those don't count. Okay.
Yeah,
that's fair. I got some quotes written down for Sett.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
So, he's got a quote that says, everyone's got a plan till they get slammed into the ground, which is a Mike Tyson quote. He's got everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth.
Yeah.
He also has a quote, a wise master once said, be like water. I guess I'm kind of a tsunami. Which, that first bit at least is a Bruce Lee quote.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, you don't really know someone until you fought them to the death. Could potentially be a Shan Yu reference. He is, who you may know from Firefly, the episode with Nishka, but he references a Shan Yu quote, live with a man 40 years, share his house and his meals, speak on every subject, then tie him up and hold him over a volcano's edge. On that day, you will finally meet the man.
I was thinking about that episode very recently. I suppose. If you want to get technical about it, yeah.
John, I really want to get to know you, so I have a plan for this weekend.
Wait a minute.
Are y'all going to the volcano too?
Field trip.
Well, that's, really all we have for Ken and Sett, I think.
There's not a lot.
I like what's here, but would like more on those connections, if they have a plan with his dad ever, like if he's going to hear about, this Half-Vestian running the fighting pits. I assume he's going to know who that is, but...
I will say, in Legends of Runeterra, the only interesting thing is that there is a card called the Old Timer who shows up. Seems like Sett. So the setup in Runeterra is that it seems like there's a big fight tournament, something going on that's at Sett's place, and one of the guys that shows up is called the Old Timer. It might be Sett's dad. He wears a mask and he looks kind of like Batman. But if he had like a big scruffy beard and was wearing a his cowl, it's a.
If he's got a mask, it's his dad. That's rule of masks.
I mean, it could just not wear a mask. I wouldn't recognize Sett's dad without a mask.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So who knows? Maybe his dad's kind of. So I guess in terms of what you could maybe do, maybe his dad's fallen on hard times and has to, comes back to his old pit, and all of a sudden there's his son, and they don't even know it.
I love that.
Something like that.
Yes, that really doesn't remember his dad. He was really young when he dipped, so.
And maybe his dad doesn't really remember him. I don't know. You could do it one way or both ways. That could be fun.
That'd be nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Well.
All right.
I'm going to take you through the wonderful world of AUs.
Because I don't know what his skills look like.
First one, we got Mecha Kingdom. The great kingdoms warred for generations until the arrival of a new enemy. To fight back, they are blessed with gifts from the heavens. Will they rise above their past to save their future? This is Mecha Kingdom Sett, a nameless barbarian who survived on the outskirts. Sett knew his greatest talent came from his fists. After building his wealth and reputation in brutal fighting pits, he created a new persona, donning the title of the Savage Wolf. Upon hearing of the Leviathan invasion, he used his fame and fortune to acquire an Avalon of his own in order, once and for all, to prove his might in front of a captivated audience.
Is he a wolf in that AU? Is that why he calls himself the Lone Wolf or whatever it is?
I don't think you ever get to see his face. He's in a mech suit.
Okay. Yeah, I guess he would be.
Then we got 4 beasts, and this is the Dragon Mancers one. I know the last one we talked about for 4 beasts was Phoenix Mancers. This one's the Dragon Mancers. Majestic dragons dwell in remote places of wild beauty, avoiding mortal affairs outside of rarely bestowing their gifts on only a select few. The Dragon Mancers are those fortunate and powerful enough to have gained the ultimate blessing. Whether they then use that for good or for evil is up to them, and anyone strong enough to stop them. This one is Obsidian Dragon Sett. Once an outcast child, Sett swore he would gain power to destroy anyone who made him feel weak. The Obsidian Dragon took note of his grit and ferocity and blessed him with obsidian-hardened skin. Sett now uses his superhuman strength to make a name for himself as a pit fighter. And every hit that bounces off his crystalline skin makes his enemies tremble.
Oh, God. You
I
didn't have
love
to
this.
say it so sexy, John.
The tremble. Ooh.
Quiver.
Hey, you heard what you wanted to hear.
No.
It's a
No.
moist
He just grabbed his floppy sword and
John!
trembled.
right? I love that this one is just Sett, but he's got like rock skin or whatever.
Sett, but he looked different.
Now he also
What a
has a
skin.
prestige skin in this one.
Oh, let me see.
Now, after cementing his reputation as an indomitable pit fighter, Sett used his winnings to give his mother the comfortable life of their dreams.
Aww.
With her happiness secured, Sett returns to the pits, determined to mentor talented young fighters and remake the fighting pits into a system that rewards not the richest or the largest, but the most determined.
Ooh. As they tremble.
I think it's still gonna probably reward people who are really big. I don't know.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, you can't
It's just okay.
take that away. And also, there is the Legends of Runeterra level up for this one. Is believe it or not, kid, I know how it feels to be weak. At your age, my arms were half as small as yours. I was beat down so many times I lost count. I could have stayed small and scared, and no one would have blamed me. But I kept my fists clenched, punched until my knuckles bled,
He's
till
starting to
I
sound
was
like Twisted Fate.
numb to the
The
pain.
graves
I
popping
didn't
up.
see myself as strong.
Oh, you're just that man.
But the obsidian dragon did. So watch me close, do what I do, and someday you'll be as strong as me. Who knows? Maybe even stronger. For one moment, just before I shatter your spine to splinters, I'm gonna make you immortal.
Got whiplash from that Sett comment. You
It's
can
like
do
that-
it so I can beat you up.
It's like that bit from Key and Peele.
Yeah.
You're gonna be the strongest ever, except you'll be the weakest. I don't know. I can't think of it.
No, I got you.
The
I like that
strongest
tac-
ever at losing.
Right. I like that tack with Sett though, of him being kind of like someone who actually cares about helping little kids. I don't know, like he's actually starts building orphanages for orphans or
Right.
something like that, but so they can
He
fight.
put the idea in his own head.
Which, let's be fair, he's very rich. He could have been using some of this money to build
Yes, Sett.
things for
Fuck you, man.
orphans and like,
What about the orphans, dude?
yeah.
Piece of shit.
Fight Club orphanage. I think that's where I want to see Sett go.
That's where I want to see Sett.
That's his future.
So there's also a cinematic for this, kind of.
Oh.
It's called Aushin's Adventure. So this is a TFT cinematic where Aushin is heading to the top of a mountain for a mystical golden spatula. Along the way, he encounters Jinx, Vagar, Yumi, Teemo, Azir, and Sett doing push-ups. And this was the TFT set where Sett, the set where Sett was in it, and if he died, he would just go to the sidelines and do push-ups and regain health until he was full health again, and then come back on the board
remember
and start
seeing
fighting
that.
again.
Yeah.
It was
That's
very
pretty
good.
funny.
Was he doing push-ups or sit-ups?
Sit-ups, you're right. Good call, hun. Good call. Good looking out.
Anytime.
I looked like a fucking idiot.
You did a little bit. I didn't want to say anything.
Appreciate you. Next, we got Sun-Kissed Summer, which is a pool party. It's summer, baby! The sun's out, the breeze is warm, and the water's cool. Everybody's leaving their rivalries and grudges at home and bringing only swimsuits and good vibes. There'll be plenty of time for punching and yelling later. Just sit back, enjoy music, and soak up the fun. This is Pool Party Sett. Brahms tropical drinks are a favorite of Sett's. The sweeter the taste and the bigger the flowers, the better. Anyone who has a problem with that can take it up with the boss. He'll call the lifeguard for you.
That's John's philosophy on alcoholic drinks, too.
Absolutely.
Actually, this thing that Sett is drinking sounds like something that you would love.
It does look like something. The only risk is that pink ones, there's always a chance that it's mixed with pink lemonade, which I do hate.
It's more purple.
You hate? Do you like regular lemonade?
No, I hate regular lemonade, too.
Oh, okay. Do you hate lemons?
I mean, I don't eat lemons. Just like lemon.
Why not, you pussy?
Right. We crack open a lemon here real quick.
I like iced tea with lemon.
What about like lemon sherbet?
I mean, it's just there's so many better flavors of sherbet.
What other foods do you not like, John?
Yeah, let's get into this.
Let's get into this since
Okay.
we're almost done talking about
So-
Sett already.
I don't know. I feel like lemonade always dries my throat out. I like drink
Sorry,
it and then
yeah.
I'm like, I'm more thirsty than when I started. I don't get it. Maybe I'm allergic to lemons.
Drink. He's eating
My
the
throat
like
closes, I
instant
can't
powder,
breathe.
like
just
country
eats
time lemon. This
John,
shit's
that's
so
not
dry.
lemonade. That's
What?
how you
Yeah,
make
that's-
lemonade.
What? No, that's lemons.
You mix it in your mouth.
I just want some tang, and he turns over to the tang one. Starts eating it. Sorry.
Anywho, next up we got Spirit Blossom.
Okay.
The Spirit Blossom Festival is an ancient and celebrated time in Ionia. When the door to the spirit world is opened, the dead return to their loved ones, and spirits of all manner turn their eyes towards the living. From the benevolent Kanmai to the obsessive Akana, their stories play out again and again, like shadows on a paper lantern. This one is Spirit Blossom Sett. Some guide the dead down the path. Others tempt them from it. Another still has no allegiances, as his spirit lies in conflict with itself. Born from Kanmai and Akana, Sett lived harmoniously until abandoned by his father. He sought retribution. Now, he can only catch whispers of salvation as he spends his days challenging slain warriors, testing their worth. So, just different types of spirits instead of, human and
The cyan.
Bastian.
Yeah.
Whatever those.
Whatever. Whatever.
Some badger.
Badger. And there's a cinematic for this one, Wandering Spirit. Maybe this is the year. Sett leaves home once again to find his Akana father, the spirit of abandonment, which I love that that's what he's the spirit of. I don't know how they didn't see this coming.
What the lady?
Ignoring all the red flags.
Yeah, honestly, we've all known people like that. He calls himself the spirit of abandonment, but I don't know. I think I can change it.
Fuck, I love that.
Yeah. Will the spirits along the path lead him away, or will he finally find his way back to his mother? And this cinematic is basically him meeting the various spirits of Ionia, and the whole thing is narrated through a letter he wrote to his mom, naturally.
Oh, that's neat.
And fun fact about this one, too. So he is the spirit of challenge in the Spirit Blossom Festival. That's kind of his thing. And his Kanmai mother is the spirit of protection. And then Sett is accompanied by 2 actual badger spirits. Yeah. One Kanmai and one Akana. They sit on Sett's shoulders when he's idle, but they aid him when he fights by becoming spirit fists.
Whoa.
The Kanmai badger is named Truffle, and the Akana one is named Southpaw.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in this AU, it's either heavily implied or outright said that Sett and Aphelios are in a relationship.
Aww.
And Sett is affectionately calling Aphelios by the nickname Mooncake.
Aww.
And Fel, which is the same nickname that his sister gives him.
Oh, adorable. I could see that.
Cool.
And finally, Lunar New Year. This is the Lunar Revel one. The Lunar New Year has arrived, and so has the party. With food and festivities to spare, it's all about ringing it in with friends and families.
Ringing it in.
Ring it ding 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 ding. Now strike up a match and watch the fireworks.
I feel like Santa Claus in this.
Yeah.
It's just the red and the white. It fucks me up. I mean, he's wearing like a red shirt with white fur trim.
Yeah.
That's fair. He's like a, he's the, God, what's the Santa with Kurt Russell?
Bad Santa? No, that's not it. That's a different one. Christmas Chronicles?
He's Christmas Chronicles Santa.
Okay.
Kurt Russell, Billy Bob Thornton.
They're pretty similar. What about like Rise of the Guardian Santa? Right?
Daddy?
He's pretty jacked too.
Yeah.
Santa's sleigh. Santa. He actually had his arms sleeves ripped off too. It's played by professional wrestler Goldberg. All the professional wrestlers were trying to make it big in the movie scene at the time, and not all of them made it like The Rock did.
Not all of them made it. I think you say not all of them made it like Goldberg with his breakout hit, Santa's sleigh.
Let's see. Oh, yeah. So this one's Firecracker Sett. Best known for his brawling, few realize that Sett is also an accomplished lion dancer.
Oh.
It's a surprisingly similar skill set. Performing is all about good footwork, being fierce, and knowing how to wow the crowd. And who does that better than the boss himself? And this one has a cinematic too, which is very cute. And if you haven't seen it, you should watch it. It's called Almost Home. Diana, Sett, Teemo, Tristana, and Sinjao are on a kind of like cable car going home, I guess, to all their individual homes. It runs into issues, and the group has to work together to stop it from crashing and, killing everyone. So it looks like they're going to... Something gets hit by lightning or some shit, and it looks like they're going to run into a rock, but then Sett jumps out of the cart and just punches through the rock so that the cart can go through it, and... Then there are a bunch of rocks falling, and it looks like they're going to hit the cart. So Sinjao cuts all of them into pieces before they hit the cart. And then the cable car, or the cable, gets cut. And then Tristana has to use her rockets to shoot the cart up forward. And it falls just short of the cliff. And it looks like they're all going to fall.
And then
no, what's
they
going to happen?
die.
And then Diana dives up the cliff and uses her ult to kind of suck everybody up with her. and they all live happily ever after. So they all get home. They shoot off fireworks that they all can see, so they share a final moment of togetherness from their homes. Some Sett highlights throughout this cinematic. We get to see Sett steal a dumpling from Teemo. At one point, he drops a picture of his mom off the edge of the tram accidentally, like the wind blows out of his hand while he's looking at it. And Teemo lunges off the side to save it. Doesn't like fall. He just, does a deep lunge, deep lunge.
Sure.
Sett doesn't thank him.
What the fuck, Sett?
But then when they all get to the top, Sett uses that ability he has where he like bashes two people's heads together to pull in all of the people and give them a big hug.
Except for Teemo.
No, even Teemo got a hug.
He was just he accidentally got swept in. Yeah. He didn't want to.
He pulls everyone in and then kicks him out.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's those are the Sett I use.
Well, yeah.
Got a handful of fun facts for you if you want them.
Throw them on me.
Sure.
I did it.
Thanks. I loved them all. I'm trembling.
So Sett is voiced by Xander Mobus, which is a hell of a name.
That was a good name.
Yeah.
And Sett's Japanese voice actor is Takahito Kayasu. And both Xander and Takahito had acting roles in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure franchise, which is a series that heavily influenced Sett's design.
Interesting. I wouldn't have... It's not the connection I would have made. I'll have to think about that.
And Sett's issues with his father were inspired by A Boy Named Sue by Johnny Cash.
Oh.
Oh, okay. Interesting. I thought you were going to say they're like inspired by like the writer's own real life, issues with his
real
dad.
life propensity for that Johnny Cash song.
My dad, Gary Abandon, left me.
The Haymaker recovery animation at High Grit, in which Sett makes this reloading motion with his biceps, was inspired by the bathroom fight scene from Mission Impossible Fallout. Oh, where Henry Cavill does his little...
He reloads his fists.
Yeah.
So it's even got a quote about like someone's like, oh, you brought a fist to a gunfight, and he's like, oh, you don't have to reload fists, but I guess you do. That's great.
Sett is in his late 20s, unlike the other Vestayan champions we know of, whom are all at least 180 years old. Yes, that's the only 30 under 30.
I'm curious, like, if there are other half Vestayans, have there ever been other half Vestayans? How long do they live generally? Like, how does this work?
It's a good question. Like, is Nidalee maybe something like that? Can Sett turn into a badger?
I could see that. Yeah. Can Sett turn into a badger? He just raids people's garbage cans.
I brought dinner home, Ma.
He brings it home. Where did you get this, honey? Oh, from the orphans.
From the orphans.
Oh, they're eating terribly.
They made me dinner. They ate some of it. There's some bites taken out.
Here's a banana peel for you.
Maybe she'd love it. She's a badger.
Maybe. What do badgers eat? I'm pretty sure they're meat eaters.
Banana peels.
Well, I'm just thinking about raccoons. I just made them all raccoons in my head. Sorry to all the badgers out there listening.
Let's see. Sett's parents fell in love before the Noxian occupation of Ionia.
Okay. I thought his dad wasn't his dad a Noxian though?
He was Noxian.
So I guess maybe was he just there on vacation?
They're just hanging out.
He was just chilling. He was a scout.
This is awkward, but Nox has just invaded.
Yeah, I'm really sorry, babe. I've been sending them back all the info, but I didn't know what they were gonna do with it.
Right?
It's just badger.
I sent him a letter that said easy to invade. I didn't think they'd do it. And for the record, it's Wolverine, not Badger. I messed up.
Wait, what, John? Wolverines, not badgers.
Yeah, those are very similar.
No, I feel like those are a little different. I feel like,
This
like,
whole
I
time.
don't know. I would be a little less intimidated by the badger than the Wolverine. I don't know.
You shouldn't be.
Like, there's a reason in, like...
Wolverines just have longer legs. They're basically the same animal.
Not the same animal, John.
They are basically the same animal. I feel like just because everybody imagines, the X-Men when they hear Wolverine and badgers are pretty sick. I mean, yeah, Wolverines are a little bigger.
He's really, really defending himself right now. Listen, guys.
Look,
Don't
look,
understand.
if you've never seen a honey badger fight a black bear,
I'm not trying to argue that they're not similar animals. It's just really funny that this whole time we're talking about badgers, we have him raiding garbage cans, and you're like, oh, no, wait, my bad, he's a Wolverine.
yeah, I could have gone to the fun
Garbage can.
facts and verified that early on, but I got to lean forward to move the notes, and it wasn't happening.
Said his
Fucking time for
mother's
that.
tribe are Bastayan Wolverines. Sorry, guys. Please don't add us on Twitter. We figured it out by the end of the
Great, yeah. Well, no one who would have written that comment has lasted long enough to hear this. The moment they heard badger, they lost their fucking minds.
They're like, oh, you fucking idiots.
And to be fair, you know what? It's our fault. Should have fucking known. Badger's
I mean, it's
funnier.
John's fault. It's not our
Yeah,
fault.
That's
it's
fair.
John's fault.
Yeah.
This is a call out to you, Maple Dryad. I know you post on Discord as you're listening. So if you make it to this point and you've already posted in the Discord
We figured it
about
out,
that,
man.
calling you out.
Right, anyway.
Let's see. What am I?
Number
Oh yeah,
8,
so
honey.
Sett is one of 24 champions without a single ability power ratio on any ability. And rapidly using Sett's dance increases how fast he does sit-ups rather than restarting the animation.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Beautiful. Good
which
job,
was
Riot.
good foresight.
Yeah.
You knew how it was going to be used.
Of course.
Let's see. Sett was teased in-game with the Sett's Calling Card loot item, which was earnable in patch 9.24, and it was awarded by Impressing Sett, which you could do by scoring First Blood in a PvP game. And it was openable from January 14, 2020, and it contained a Sett Champion Permanent.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And finally, we talked about this a little bit, but Sett's general appearance was inspired by characters from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and his It Was Me emote is a direct reference to Dio Brando in the It Was Me meme.
I don't know what that is. I'm too old for JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
You're too non-bizarre.
I don't know
Right.
what JoJo's
Fucking
Bizarre
normie.
Adventure is, and I've been too embarrassed to ask if it has anything to do with JoJo Siwa or not.
No, absolutely. It's a side project.
So they're not. She's not part of it.
Nah.
Really? I don't know. That's too many JoJos in one generation. You guys, you gotta figure it out.
Limits 1.
It should have been a different name. It should have been like, I don't know, Barbara's Bizarre Adventure.
Yeah, there's no Barbaras.
There's no Barbaras. No famous ones.
Yeah, not a single one. Can't think of a single one.
Not in the Gen Z. Not in the Zoomers. There's no Zoomer named Barbara.
Hit us up in the comments.
No,
Your
don't,
name's
please.
Barbara.
Anyway,
But yeah, that's all I got for fun facts.
Cool.
that was Sett.
That was Sett.
Yeah. Any
That
final
was Sett.
thoughts?
Game, set, match on that one.
Oh, I was wondering if that was going to happen. Sett's a fun character to have other characters run into. I want to see
Yeah.
Zaya and Rakan. I want to see Zaya and Rakan meet up because I want to see Rakan get in his face and come up to about like his Sett's pecs. But still, like, give him the run around in the ring. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
They're both dancers. At least, in that AU.
I feel like they would end up like very suddenly just being bro besties, and Zaya's like, "Oh my fucking god!" Like at first,
the
they're
last
fighting,
person
and
she would
then
want to hang out
They
with.
like find out that they have something weird in condom. Oh my god!
Oh,
They had a different idea for Sett and Rickon. Apparently, they had something.
They find out they both pronounce it pubo.
All right, I'm done. That was Sett. Thank you for listening. Nothing wrong with pubo. Fuck off. We have a Twitter, it's @loreheads. And we have a Twitch, twitch.tv/loreheads. John streams on Saturdays. He does TFT and then ARAMs. We're also going to start trying to stream on Mondays. I'm supposed to be the one doing it, but I haven't yet. So we'll see what happens.
But I did it these past 2 weeks, so
yeah.
We're doing it.
It will be less ARAMs with viewers. It might be like ARAMs with like our friends and stuff like that instead, or other games. We have a YouTube as well. John posts clips and videos of the recordings, things like that, and he also has some fun parody songs. And we have a Discord if you want to get in there and chat with some folks about lore. That's the place to do it.
Yeah.
We have a Patreon as well. Thank you to all of our patrons.
But a very special thank you to our Medarda tier patrons: Big Man Gnomes, Chloe Things, John is a Sexy Egg, King of Hearts, Shupa Moustache, Techno Robert, and Trideca. If you were in the fighting pits and you had to face Sett, I would tag you out and be like, nah, I got this. And then don't you worry.
You get killed immediately.
No, because I've got this floppy
no.
story.
It's weird.
John.
I'm one of now only 7 people that can.
It's weird. It's never floppy when I'm around. Gross. Sorry, everyone.
Ew. Fucking gross.
And please be sure to join us next week for another short episode, probably our shortest episode yet, actually, as we talk about the demon jester who isn't a demon, Shaco.
I forgot that Shaco was next. I'm so excited.
It's exciting.
He doesn't even have a short story, everybody.